Hello everyone and welcome back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue, where we look towards the biggest wrestling news that you can find. Plenty of news brought together from different sources and of course plenty of exclusive news from myself. Our headlines today are as regards largely the WWE Draft. We are talking why Bray Wyatt, why Alexa Bliss are not going to be on the list. Thank you for renewing your subscription, Dylan. Great to see you, mate. CM Punk in position to run AEW, or at least one of the shows. Endeavour and their position on the new lawsuit against Vince McMahon. The rumours of Big E and his impending, so to speak, return. We have a little bit on a show that's going to be going live on Tuesday that you may enjoy. A Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure live show, the mailbag that we tend to do before pay-per-views. We are talking AJ Styles' injury status. I think I may have given the game away just by mentioning that one. A little bit about who's going to be the future World Heavyweight Champion. And of course, Roman Reigns, the forever champ. There are rumours out there from WrestleVotes that he's going to be holding it for another year. I'll be discussing that and more. Also, we are on currently 2,395 subscribers. 2,395. We're looking for 5 more to reach 2,400. Also, hi. So you may notice if you're watching on YouTube, at the very top, pardon me, of the chat, there is a pinned comment. That comment has a link to a tweet that announces this show. If you're able to, please do click on that. Go to the tweet, click on the tweet as many times as you possibly can, because apparently that actually helps the algorithm. And be sure to share if you can. No pressure, but I appreciate it. And remember, always hit like as we get started. So our first piece is going to be Bray Wyatt. This is unlikely to surprise anyone, but Bray Wyatt is not listed for the draft either for WWE Smackdown tonight or WWE Raw on Monday. Also not listed, Alexa Bliss. Now, if you're a regular here on Spoiler Warning, you'll know the details of this already, but there's a bit more to it than that now. Bray Wyatt is currently using his ability to essentially write his own work to recreate his character and start again with where they're going in future. Bray Wyatt essentially had a plan when he rejoined the WWE, and he was allowed a certain modicum of creative control in order to create the overall world that he was looking for. This has not come to pass. In many ways, they were building everything that they possibly could for Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss and Uncle Howdy. However, then the WWE started to make changes. Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt were not originally supposed to be friends. In the end, they started moving towards being a tag team with the hope of getting them on the WrestleMania card. This, in the end, did not play out. They were supposed to be enemies. Then there was the Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt that did not happen. Then there was the Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt that did not happen. And Bray Wyatt has had to start rewriting. On top of this, he was the one actively writing storylines for Alexa Bliss. At this point, the WWE are visiting ways to change the Alexa Bliss character to take it away from Bray Wyatt. Bray and Alexa actually very much enjoy working together, so this would be very awkward for everyone involved, but that is what they are currently exploring, taking Alexa Bliss away from Bray Wyatt. As such, both wrestlers are currently in the situation where they have creative hiatus. There is no plan for them at current, and there is no defined character, so at the moment, they are not advertised for the draft. We may see if they've been able to pitch a storyline that works with how the WWE want to play this. We may see them announced. However, they are not the WWE willing to put money on the willing to put money on Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, putting together a concept or character that will work long term for the WWE. There is a level of fatigue with the Bray Wyatt universe, and there is also the involvement of Endeavour, who, to be absolutely blunt and absolutely clear, are looking for a more realistic style to the WWE. Endeavour want to take wrestling closer to UFC, closer to actual fights and actual Mortal Kombat, as it were. Mortal Kombat. And with this in mind, this is creating problems for characters such as Bray Wyatt, who really relies quite heavily on the occult and on the strange, as well as Alexa Bliss in her current persona. This is creating problems and hurdles that they may not be able to leap. As such, Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss are being reimagined, and at the moment at least, we do not see them listed for the draft. There was a bit of conversation on the YouTube chat before I got here, but I want to say hi to everyone who's already involved. Brad, Mick, Joe, plenty of people already saying hi. Carlos early on as well. Mr. Stumble says, Tom, is ex-con Dom allowed to be drafted due to the outstanding warrant for his arrest? To be fair, he was able to get off on that one for community service. The community that he was serving was his own family. He went there to essentially clean the gutters. And funnily enough, that vignette never made it to air. Funny world. Dark Society says, hey Tom, how you doing? Hey Dark Society, doing pretty well, thank you. Eric says, Tom, do you think Liv and Raquel move to Raw or stay? Personally, they are two that could be going essentially back and forth in whichever direction. They can do both brands as they're the tag team champions. Personally, I think they'll stay on SmackDown. We're also likely to see Ronda stay. That's my opinion on that one. Zane says, reports from YouTuber Seaview Entertainment said Mercedes Money is backstage at Impact Wrestling tapings. Naomi was. I do not believe that Mercedes Money has any intention of working with Impact, though she may have been there to support Naomi. Hello Ed, how you doing mate? Hello Khalid. Callie says, evening Tom, hope you are well. Very well, thank you Callie, welcome to the show. Rosar says, hello Tom, ready spoiler warning, had so many questions through the week but now I forgot. Ken Thompson says, any Naomi news? Naomi has officially signed with Impact Wrestling and we'll be seeing more of her on that brand. Daniela says, good evening Tom. Good evening Daniela. Raymond says, greetings Tom, great to be here. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hello Raymond and hello everybody. Noob says, hello Tom, how you doing? Doing very well, thank you Noob, and yourself. And Joey says, hey Tom, PWInsider reported AJ Styles is backstage at SmackDown. Has he been cleared to wrestle or is he just visiting? More on that story later. Jordan Darlow says, good evening Tom, thank you for continuing to provide high quality news. Cheers mate. Also evening to all in the chat. Thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate it, Jordan. Spider-Boss says, hello Tom, ahead of the draft, any update on Carmella? Nothing at this point in time, no. I don't think anyone, unfortunately, has anything on Carmella as of yet. I say unfortunately, ultimately if someone wants to be private, I can appreciate that. Bailey says, any other big names or not so big you noticed as off the draft lists? No, not personally, though the word big will be coming up later. Hello Sean, how are you? Spiderball says, recently the Wrestling Observer stated Tia Hale from NXT was injured. This was denied by Tia Hale herself. Hogan says, makes sense for Roman's run to end at WrestleMania. It did indeed. However, that did not happen. Peter Englefield is here saying, hit the likes or we get the tables out and you don't want that. And you don't want that. Daniela's not excited by the idea of another year. Cam says, hey Tom. Hello Cam. Sean says, PWInsider reported that Bron Breakker and Cora Jade are backstage at SmackDown. I can confirm that they are indeed. That would have been something I mentioned a little bit later, but it's out there, so I might as well say I can confirm that, yes. Daz says, big up Tom, hope you're well. Also, do you think Seth will stay on Raw or move to SmackDown? Personally, I think Seth will stay on Raw, far away from Roman Reigns, as far away pretty much as possible, so that at least they have a nice future for Survivor Series. Also, Daz, I did spot you in the Wrestling Days chat when I received many messages telling me Wrestling Days had put me over, so I went to check it out. And it's always nice seeing so many familiar faces there. It's nice to see you, Daz. Kelly says, Tom, I was watching the Superstar Shakers from 2016 and 2017 and 2018 and 2020 and 2021 to get ready for tonight. Well, you must be very excited and very, very hype. Venom says, hi, Tom. Hello, Venom. Joey says, do you think this lawsuit will go anywhere or is it going to be another payout? That very much depends on the plaintiff, but let's talk about this one while we have it. The new lawsuit against Vince McMahon, I have been reporting for a while that there are more to come, and this is one of those where we are waiting for, well, we've been waiting for it for a while. I did have some inkling that this one was coming, but I didn't have anywhere near the depth of the information that is coming out as we speak. This is, I believe, the fourth lawsuit that Vince McMahon is currently facing, and a very, very difficult position for absolutely no one. Vince McMahon is basically shrugging all of these off, and Endeavour, to be blunt, from the quotes I've been given, don't really care. They're in fact absolutely fine with any potential payout. They don't believe it will be anywhere near the Dominion payout, I tell you that, and Vince McMahon will have the benefit of company law, or company lawyers I should say, in order to be protected from any lawsuits filed against him. Sean says it sucks that Alexa's career is stuck to Bray. It isn't necessarily. They are looking at splitting them up if Bray doesn't come up with something soon. Venom says, do you think Roman will lose the title at SummerSlam? Yes, I do. In fact, I think he'll lose both championships and only one will work going forwards. Well, hello, Michael. How are you? Good to see you, mate. Says, WWE has trained fans for too long. The wrestling is not a sport. I agree with that. However, they are looking at trying to make it as mainstream sport as possible. And this is something that Vince McMahon has been working on as long as he possibly can. And that's why you'll see, for example, mainstream media much more covered than wrestling media when it comes to the big stories and the big releases. WWE bluntly do not care about wrestling media. It means absolutely nothing for them. But actual mainstream media puts them on a par with actual sports. So they will be trying to push that as much as possible. We are looking for just 5 more subscribers. We're on 2,395 as we speak. If you haven't done so yet, please consider hitting like, subscribing, or if you'll see my pinned comment on the YouTube side, sharing the tweet that announces that this show is happening. Peter says the lawsuits will go the same way as the others, brushed under the carpet and paid off. Venom says if Roman holds the title for another year, at least I might finally get that AJ Styles match. Khalid says, Tom, I hope LA Knight comes to Raw. FDR says, hello Tom, hi all. Been a while since I've joined your live sessions. Good to see you, mate. I've seen plenty of comments from you, so I know you're in and about. And I very much appreciate you being so ever present regardless. The shorts as well, by the way, are doing extremely well at the moment. This morning I got a random 811 views on one yesterday. It's very strange. But the shorts are doing well, the TikTok is doing well, and the growth of the channel right now is doing very well, I think largely because of all the combinations of different areas that I'm putting focus into. So, even if you don't make the live shows, I know you're watching and I very much appreciate it. Moises says, Jinder Mahal will dethrone Roman. Ouch. Marcel says, hi Tom, how are you? Doing very well, thank you Marcel, welcome to the show. Dark Society says Roman Reigns will pass Pedro Morales on June 23rd, then he'll pass Bruno Sammartino's first title reign on January 19th, 2024. I do not believe he will go that far. Austin says, where do you see Shayna going? Personally, I think Shayna will stay wherever Ronda Rousey is, and personally, I do think that Ronda Rousey will be remaining on SmackDown. CM says there's a draft order, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw. I don't know at this point in time, but I strongly suspect, as it's on SmackDown, that we will start with a SmackDown pick, and that SmackDown pick will be Roman Reigns. Number of the Devil says there was a rumour Bray Wyatt was added back on the run sheets and the Uncle Howdy props were backstage for this Friday. Is there any truth to that? I have not heard anything about that myself. Can you give me a source for that particular news? Hi Vegeta, how you doing, mate? Venom says, what did you think of Raw and the new title? Raw was alright. Raw was quite enjoyable. The new title looks like a World Heavyweight Championship with a WWE logo stuck on the front. Bit disappointing. Matthew Johnson says, evening Tom and chat. Listening while working. Hope everyone is well. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm well. Hopefully you are as well. Zane says, have you played 2K23? I have not. Vegeta says, I hope AJ is cleared. I want him to face Cody again. Joey says, do they plan on revisiting the Bray and Bobby feud, or are they starting fresh with him? They are starting fresh with Bray at this point in time, especially when you consider that he may not be on the same brand as Bobby Lashley going forwards, and Bobby Lashley has firmly been moved on. Beyond that, when it comes to Bray Wyatt at the moment, he's looking at basically writing a new storyline that would be his own storyline, and thus would not necessarily involve Bobby Lashley. Mark is here, says, hey Tom, hope you had a good week. Looking forward to the show and the watch along later as well. Thank you, Mark, appreciate you being here. Khalid, Bray Wyatt is not listed as being drafted at all, either SmackDown or Raw, so I don't know what that means per se. Peter Englefield thinks a Big Show is coming back. Mark drops the tables, always good to see. Everything is on the table, just incredible. Has upgraded his membership from channel supporter to channel member. Thank you very kindly, Justin. I promise you getting to your comments, and I very much appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Alex says, a wrestler's not named in the draft list going to be free to go anywhere? No, they are not. Spider-Boss says, does Roxanne Perez move to the main roster or does she stay on NXT? I don't know, but she has been told to expect a call-up sooner rather than later. Michael believes the new World Heavyweight title is a terrible idea. There are definitely pluses and minuses to it, but it really undermines the situation with Roman Reigns. And if they do separate Roman and Cody, it basically just completely abandons the entire story that they've had. Spider-Boss says, I'm excited for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos rematch. That is, of course, on tonight. Sean says, do you know if there's an injury to Indy Hartwell? Yes, there is an injury at current to Indy Hartwell. I can confirm the reports that they finished with change to the match and then changed back when she returned. Venom says, I don't get why Priest is more protected than Finn when Finn is the leader. He gets pinned way too much. Why is this, Tom? Because at the moment they are pushing Damian Priest and not Finn Balor. And Finn Balor, fan of it. Absolutely fan of it. Zayn says the source indicated Fightful Carmella has been sidelined, but no further details. Has no heat on her and is in LA for WrestleMania week. This, I'm guessing, was a while back, as a reference to WrestleMania week. I'm guessing you went and looked that up yourself, Zayn, which I very much appreciate, as you've been able to confirm a bit of reporting there. And it's always very nice to have information brought in, particularly from sources which have proven relatively accurate over the past few years. Thank you very kindly to everyone who is sharing the tweet about Bray Wyatt. About the announcement of the show tonight. It currently has 1,292 views. Always a wonderful, wonderful thing. And will continue to grow as we do. So far, link clicks 16. So 16 people have joined this channel because of your sharing of it. Venom says, do you think AJ Styles is drafted on his own or with the OC? Very much with the OC. Justin says, happy Friday, Tom. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing good. Doing very well, thank you, Justin, and yourself. Dom says, what's up, Tom and chat? Don't forget to hit the like button. We have one word for you. What? Nick Rose says, will the UFC be part of the draft because of the merger? Nope. Alex says, is the report of Cody and Roman rematch at WrestleMania 40 happening true? Give Me Sport did not say it first. The report came from WrestleVotes. Give Me Sport just reported it first. And what I will say, firstly, I wonder how much money they are paying WrestleVotes for that privilege of being able to report things first, because that's the only exclusive they get. And in many ways, it seems like it's the only thing they actually report on now. But what I will say is that there was no report that the match is happening. The report was that the match idea is on the table. On the table. Eric says, do you think Dana Brooke gets drafted? If she's on the list, then yes. Joey says, PWInsider also reported Pretty Deadly, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez are all backstage tonight. I'm guessing they will all be drafted. Pretty Deadly I did not know about. Roxanne Perez I did. Sean says, I wonder when Roderick was released by the WWE since he appeared on AEW this week. A couple of months ago, actually. When it comes to Roderick Strong, he's been looking to get out of the WWE essentially since Adam Cole left. And he seemed, in many ways, simply uninterested in sticking around for long. Eventually, they essentially realised there was no point fighting him. Evening, Sai. How you doing, mate? Mixer shorts are always so strange. Sometimes wow, sometimes... I've been gaining a lot of momentum on them recently. The trick, apparently, much like TikTok, is keep throwing stuff at the wall and eventually some will stick. 456 says, hello, chat. Hello, Tom. Can't wait for the draft. Welcome, mate. Okay, Number of the Devil, I appreciate you bringing your sources in there. Hogan says, still disappointed they had another world title. WWE just came off a hot period with one world champion and a soft brand split and said, what if we stopped doing those things? To be fair, though, this is a Triple H choice, and I do feel that if there's anyone who will be able to manage this, Triple H is going to be the one. Brad, I can't go into details of any sharing of my opinion on particular lawsuits. I can talk about Endeavor, I can talk about Vince, I can talk about details as have been reported about the lawsuit, but I'm not going to potentially harm the case by sharing something which may prejudice, that's the word I'm looking for, the outcome. Joey says, do you know if they plan on doing a tournament for the World Heavyweight title? I do not, but I suspect that is the most likely case. A tournament culminating at Night of Champions makes the most sense to me. Eric says, I hope the Bloodline gets split so Roman can at least have some clean wins. I don't see that one happening. I do believe the Bloodline will be staying together. Vegeta says, Pretty Deadly is guaranteed pretty much since they got written off NXT. And Danielle says, I hope the OC get drafted to SmackDown tonight. All three of them? I would absolutely say yes. Good day, Carl. How you doing, sir? Venom says, do you think Bray could be a free agent going to both brands? No. Spider-Boss says, do you think Roxanne Perez moves to the main roster? Yes. Bailey says, not that it'll ever happen, but it would be exciting if non-drafted talent was given the ability to leave the WWE without penalty, a true free agent. Not a bad shout. And it does open up some doors, but at the same time, what if they don't want to leave? At that point, that becomes basically voluntary redundancy. Thank you very much, Bubba Duke, for joining and becoming a subscriber on this here channel. I very much appreciate it. Your first comment saying, "Good day, Tom," from Boar's Nest. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are currently tonight looking for 5 subscribers. That's our first one. 4 more gets us to 2,400 subscribers. If you want to help, the best way you can do that is just to hit like on the video and keep on asking your questions. Welcome to the show. Michael says, to quote PWInsider, thank you very much, Michael. You'll do really well in this field, by the way. I just want to make that clear. You always source and you always come in with exact quotes. Roderick Strong's WWE deal expired in November. Since WWE doesn't announce NXT departures and it wasn't a release but a contract ending, it flew under the radar. The debut was timed for after Cole's return and locally in Florida to prevent him from being spotted travelling. As I say, he has been looking to get out essentially since Adam Cole left and reunite the Undisputed Era. I reported that at the time and it's still very much true. Mr. Stumble says, do you see Ezekiel and Elias being drafted to different brands? I do. I was disappointed to find that Ezekiel's name actually isn't on the list. What happened? Has he been released? Is he going to turn up in AEW? I need to know. Can I just say, it would be great if they actually did that at some point where Elias was on one brand and Ezekiel was actually in AEW. Just work together, just for that. Give me that one thing, Spider-Boss says, do you see the Usos winning back the tag team titles? I do not. Counterfeit says, I heard that Ilya... What's the source, Counterfeit? The phrase I heard that is not something we follow here. Dark Society says, if Roman keeps the title at SummerSlam, I wouldn't be shocked. His title run is too big just to lose at SummerSlam, just my opinion. Noob says, I believe Asuka is going to get drafted to SmackDown. She needs new storylines and developing her character because her return pretty much felt rushed. I think personally she'll stay on Raw and Bianca will move to SmackDown. KJ says, what's up, Tom? Thanks for the feedback under your videos. Short, I hope you don't mind me conversating under your videos. Absolutely not, mate. Jump right in. Or does that help you like when we chat when you're live? Yes, it does. So YouTube videos, live and not, are based on engagement. The more likes, the more comments, and just the more conversation helps boost the video. Every comment is attributable to 5 times the amount of views as the people, commenting. So if I get 100 comments, that's basically guaranteed 500 more views. If some of those 500 people click like, that guarantees even further views and the momentum builds. And before you know it, you can see why videos of people with more subscribers automatically do better. Joey says, apparently there's been a lot of injuries in NXT because of new training methods. Do you think they'll change it now? Nope. Hi Cam, how you doing? Cam says, any updates for the Iconics? Excited for them, especially for Peyton. No update at this point in time. Last I heard, there was still a conversation ongoing. Joey says, are grizzled young vets going to disappear off TV now until their contracts expire? Nope, they're going to job. Spider-Boss says, it disappoints me the lack of TV time that the women's divisions of WWE get every week. Me too, I agree with you. Nick Rose, I believe I answered your question about that. If you want to ask it again, by all means do so. But if I have already answered it, I will be ignoring it. I am a little bit behind. Be aware of that because there's quite a lot of chat coming in, so it can take a little time. Mark says, my weekly gun to call, I predict him being the Raw first pick. I think it might be Becky. Thomas says, hi Tom, who would you say each show has as their top picks? Personally, I see it being Roman for SmackDown and Bianca for Raw. We'll have to wait and see on that one. I think Seth is still going to be very much up there. Hogan says, I'm just reminded of WWE's last hot period, 2014, which had one world champion and no brand split. I don't think that's a total coincidence. Disagree. WWE's been on a hot run essentially since Fox picked up SmackDown. They got, 3.8 million, 4.2 actually I believe it was, 4.2 million viewers on that first show, and since then they've been averaging 2+ million. Pretty good numbers. Dane says, will commentators be drafted? They are not listed, no, but there may be some changes and some tweaks. Michael Winston says, any Bobby Lashley news? None at this point in time. Yes, Ricky, I did indeed talk about Bray Wyatt already. By all means, pop back to the beginning of the show, just rewind it, and you'll be able to get all the news and then catch up. Sean says, just missed one more member to have a full Undisputed Era reunion in AEW. I think we'll get the reunion briefly, but I don't think it will stick around. Ken, thank you very much for subscribing on the YouTube side. I very much appreciate it. The growth of the channel continues unabated, and I'm very appreciative of that. Jordan Darlow says, Tom, is there any wrestler in particular that you think needs a draft move to reignite their career? Personally, I'm going with Drew McIntyre to Raw. I think Drew McIntyre does need that boost, absolutely. But I think if we're talking reigniting a career, at the moment, I'm kind of looking at someone like Shinsuke Nakamura, who's coming in with a bit of momentum, but there isn't much room when your top people are Gunther and Roman Reigns. So get over to Raw, go up against an Austin Theory where you can grow. Bobby Fish did get released Venom, that's what I mean, there's one guy missing. Bruce, welcome, how you doing, mate? Hey Joseph, how you doing? Counterfeit says, how many NXT stars at SmackDown tonight? Many. Spider-Boss says, do you see Bianca losing the Raw Women's title soon? Potentially, yes, particularly if she's going to get drafted, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. That said, if it did happen, good spot for EO. Daniela says, Bianca's Raw Women's champion. May I ask what makes you think she'll be drafted to Raw? I strongly believe the plan long term is Rhea Ripley being drafted to SmackDown and feuding with Bianca Belair at next year's WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's what I believe was at least suggested on the Raw after Mania, but it was Raw after Mania, didn't make much sense, so we are where we are. Bubba says, I hear that the USA Network says that Bloodline and the Chief come before the new title on Raw. Who do you hear that from, Bubba? What's your source? When it comes to USA Network and Roman Reigns, yes, they want Roman Reigns. When it comes to Fox and Roman Reigns, yes, they want Roman Reigns. When it comes to WWE Network and NXT and AEW, yes, they want Roman Reigns. When it comes to spoiler warning, yes, I want Roman Reigns. However, only one person gets him. Michael says, I really wish the Iconics and Emma was still in Impact now the Trinity is there. Mr. Stumble says, if Ezekiel went to AEW, then Kevin Owens' brother Ken would follow him. Brewy says, Tom, are they splitting the bloodline for the draft? I don't believe so, no. I want to briefly touch on the news about CM Punk before we continue. So, CM Punk has held meetings with Tony Khan and Chris Jericho, essentially which revolve around him becoming the face that runs the place on the new Saturday AEW show, AEW Collision. Apparently this was a suggestion by CM Punk himself as a way to keep him entirely separate from the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. Essentially, if CM Punk at any point runs into Jon Moxley, there's going to be trouble, and I don't think Jon Moxley's going to come out looking the worse for it, let's be honest. The idea seems to be that Punk will act as executive vice president, is that what they were calling him? On the Collision side, and write a lot of his own storylines and his own opponents. He and Chris Jericho are pitching a storyline for the two of them as we speak. Tony Khan has essentially confirmed at this point there will be a dedicated brand split on AEW. This will give more people opportunities. However, they're not able to get much out of Rampage. I think they've got even less chance of getting great results and great numbers out of Collision as well. Saturday, famously, not a great time to put on a wrestling show unless it's, for example, a premium live event, which at this point in time they will be competing directly with the WWE. CM Punk may think that's a good idea. I don't fancy their chances. Steve, how you doing, mate? Says Tom, how are you, my friend? Happy draft day. If you were a GM, who'd be your top 3 WWE picks? My top 3 WWE picks would be Roman Reigns, Gunther, Rhea Ripley. Give me those 3 and it literally does not matter anyone else. KJ says the fact we're getting a 5-star WrestleMania main event tonight is insane, low-key, LOL. I agree. I absolutely agree. They are basically just guaranteeing a whole lot of viewership tonight, and it's going to pay off. They've done everything they can to guarantee. They've got the SEO of the concept of the NFL draft, and they of course have all of the SEO that comes with that. Plus, the main event is going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against the Usos. It's going to be one of those shows that you do not want to miss, and we are hosting a watch along for it tonight, so be sure to check that out. Alex says Roman number 1 for SmackDown and Cody number 1 for Raw is what I think. I could see that as well. Kelly says, Tom, I shared your Bray Wyatt video when he was returning on Twitter. They said they were waiting for his return. They did wait. They didn't want to trust the news that they had, and they decided to wait. That's on them, and that's up to them. Mr. Stumble says, is it a total coincidence at the week of the WWE Draft that CM Punk was spotted backstage? Actually, in the end, yes. He was coming home on a plane, ran into some WWE superstars, such as, for example, The Miz, and decided to go back to the old haunt. And then when he got there, he was told, no, go away. Kelly says, is Bobby the new US champ? There was a post on Facebook saying that he beat Austin Theory in a house show in Manchester. I do not believe he is. That is news to me. Michael says, Kaylee Ray is the only forever champ. Roman Reigns, the forever champ, mate. I got words on it. Joey says, Teddy Long returning just to announce the picks tonight, or will he be a GM? I don't know on this one. I don't have confirmation about it, but I see that it's been reported. Eric says, Tom, do you want the mid-card title to switch brands? Yes, I do. I want Gunther to go to Raw, where there are some new opponents for him to take on. Sean says, Zelina versus Sonya announced for SmackDown. Do you think Zelina wins? Yes, I do. They need to at least build her as a somewhat credible threat for Rhea Ripley. Mark says, will the superstars be told before the pick where they are going, or find out when they see the pick? A little bit from both. Roman Reigns, for example, knows exactly where he's going, but Sonya Deville has no idea and nobody has told her. Raymond says the superstars of where they're going in the draft will be a surprise to them. I believe I've just answered that. Eddie says you heard the names Paul wants from AEW who Meltzer was talking yesterday. Nowhere near the amount of names that Dave Meltzer thinks. Dad says, where would you have Ray if you were a GM? I would have him on Raw away from Dominic. Joey says, since Trish Stratus is eligible for the draft, is she under a new contract with WWE? I don't believe so, no. She's under essentially a pay per appearance contract. So she is getting paid, so there is some element of contract, but it's not a full-time contract, and it is going to be very brief. Rana Roscoe says, hey Tom, who do you think is a surprise for AEW Collision because of Punk's return, according to Dave Meltzer? Don't know, it's according to Dave Meltzer, so he's probably get that fed directly from Tony Khan. When it comes to surprises, and when it comes to CM Punk, there's a number of different people. Maybe Kenny Omega turns up. Venom says, do you see CM Punk going back to the WWE? Nope. Bubba source with Sports Keto, thank you for sourcing. Razar says, I feel like the top 4 women in WWE are Bianca, Becky, Rhea, Charlotte. So I think 2 will be on each show. Probably, yes, they do tend to split them that way. Charlotte seems likely to stay on SmackDown by the by. Eric says, if I were a GM, my top 3 picks would be Roman, all of Judgment Day if they count as 1. They don't. And Roxy. So your free picks would be 6 picks. KJ says, CM Punk does all that now, gets his own show, basically. Basically, yes. Mr. Stumble believes that CM Punk could beat up Jon Moxley in real life. CM Punk cares about his health. Jon Moxley doesn't. That's the difference. Sean says AEW will also be competing with college football when it starts in August. Daniela, I've seen reports about Teddy Long. I've not had any confirmation. Joey, I believe I've answered that question. Zane says, I want to see the Iconics return to Impact as the inspiration. Bruce says, Tom, I'll be here for the watch-along. Thank you, Bruce. Hopefully many of you will be. The watch parties have been very, very fun recently, and I very much appreciate the amount of you that have been dropping in recently. It's a very relaxed and very fun show that I very much enjoy, and I'm so grateful to all of you for joining us for that. Venom says, do you think the tag titles are separated and we have brand-specific pay-per-views again? Yes, no. KJ says, LWO tops the WWE merch list for the 3rd week in a row, according to Brandon Thurston, which means we know it's right. I felt that was worth mentioning, and I appreciate that, KJ. Bring the news. Spoiler warning, mate. Bring the news. FDR drops tables into the chat as well. Razar says, PWInsider reported Naomi is going to Impact. I'm surprised. Did WWE reach out to bring her back? I guess she said no. Yeah, if you've been following Spoiler Warning as a regular here, you'll be fully aware of the situation with Naomi. The WWE have been trying to bring her back for a while, and it seemed much more likely that she would return than Mercedes would return. However, that is not what has happened. Hogan says, the USA and Fox executives actually like the hard brand split. Hard for me to imagine a network saying something like we want Roman to ourselves or not at all. They don't say we want Roman to ourselves not at all, but when it comes to the brand split, they don't want to advertise Roman Reigns if he's appearing on the opposite network. It's that simple. If it's someone like, for example, Becky Lynch, and she's being on both brands, but she's doing interviews, and they're pushing her as a big star on the USA network, and then she pops up on Fox, they're not happy. Joe, we are talking about Big E and AJ Styles next, so keep track, and we will, stick around, and we will be seeing you soon. Joey says they're going to have the draft rooms tonight like they did back in 2016. There has been a report saying that, yes. Zane says Impact Wrestling has the best women's division in all of wrestling. They're certainly doing very good things over there. I would dispute that with the concept of Raw at the minute, particularly with Rhea on Raw, but that is going to change. Razar says, does WWE have a rule to keep couples together in the draft? No, but they have a preference to it. Spider-Boss says, who do you think has a better chance of getting Mercedes money after May 21st? WWE or AEW? AEW. Joe will be here for the watch party as well. Thank you, Joe. Ken says, will you be doing a watch-along for AEW's new Saturday show? Hell no. I like my Saturdays. Thomas says, I'll be back for the watch-alongs, to quote The Rock. Finally. Khalid as well. So many of you saying you'll be here for the watch party, and I very much appreciate it. Callie, I'm not sure, but I appreciate that you're asking that instead of Venom, who's already asked. Mr. Stumble says, John Cena, who's behind you right now, got mad when you said you wanted Reigns on your show. I want Roman Reigns right here on Spoiler Warning. Right here on Spoiler Warning. And I don't think Cena would be upset. After all, I can't see him. Thank you, Hogan. He's checked Cage Match. Thank you for sourcing as well to say that Bobby Lashley did beat Austin Theory in Manchester, but it was by DQ. Richard says, will the Judgment Day be the only faction to be drafted to SmackDown? You're asking for direct spoilers there as to the result of the draft, and I don't have those. Michael says, Naomi's friend said that last time she was offered was in January. She clearly has no interest in being there. Let's just say they did eventually give up on that one. They're still very interested. There was an offer on the table in January, but eventually they seem to get the message of the fact that really it's not worth doing. Spider-Boss says, awesome match for New Japan Resurgence Tournament. Mercedes versus Steph Vaquer from Chile. So says, WWE have done nothing to explain how this will work tonight, that being the draft. There are no competing GMs, so we've no idea who makes the picks. I personally believe it'll be Triple H, but it's really hard to be able to say with any sort of certainty. Spider-Boss says, I still don't get the hatred that the Bloodline get from fans. They are cheaters and heels. Worth pointing out. We are now on 2,397 subscribers. 3 more to get to 2,400. We are also on 112 viewers and 57 likes. If you're able to, please remember to give us a thumbs up. It really does help the growth of the channel and guarantees more people in these shows ready to watch and help us to grow as well. Richard says, will Brock Lesnar be drafted to NXT? No, but that would be hilarious. There are rumours at the moment that Big E of the New Day is going to be returning during the draft. What I will say is that to my knowledge, Big E has not been cleared as of yet by a WWE doctor. He is not listed as available for the draft, though to be fair, you wouldn't want him to be listed as available anyway. My expectation is that he will go wherever the New Day is drafted and that he will reappear without getting physical to work essentially as their backup and essentially in a management role a little bit as well. I don't expect to see Big E during the draft. However, what I will say, the most recent checks for Big E have been very positive. It is very likely at this point in time what we are going to see is a return to action for Big E at some point in the next few months. They will take their time. They will not rush Big E, and that's one of the reasons I don't expect to see him during the draft tonight. But positive signs for Big E, an impending return, and I suspect he'll be paired back up with the New Day. Blaine, thank you very kindly for subscribing on the YouTube side. We continue to grow, and I'm very grateful to all of you. Every single one of you watching, whether you're chatting, lurking, whatever you are doing, even if you choose not to click like, even if you choose not to share on Twitter, even if all you are doing is sitting and listening, I appreciate you and I'm grateful to you for being here, because the more viewers we have, the more viewers we gain. Mr. Stumble says, any cameo from former general managers tonight? There are apparently cameos being planned, yes. Wants to say, Tom, if Mercedes does sign the limited appearance deal with AEW, which show will she be featured in, Dynamite or Collision? It is impossible to say at this point in time because no decision has been made without a contract being signed. Kelly says, Tom, does the draft continue on Raw this Monday? Yes, it does. Carl, thank you kindly for helping here. Says, likes and comments greatly help this channel and it's free to do. Carl, my hope is that you continue this energy during your Raw watch-alongs, which I know you do on our local establishment. And of course during your Turnbuckle Talk shows as well. What I've learned from YouTube, and I hope to have more conversations with yourself and any other content creators about this in future, is that there are some amazing ways to grow through essentially the goodwill of the people watching. It is all about creating an engaged show of interested people who just want to join and have fun. And any way that you as a host can create that guarantees a lot more buzz, a lot more vibe, and a lot faster growth. Mark says, have to say Tiffany and Roxanne did a great work to carry on the fly while they worked out what happened with Indy. Funny, Callie, I appreciate that. Rule Run says, our house shows that fall in the same week, the same show every time, or do they change it up for each show? Sometimes they are the same show. Quite often they'll run the same match back to back, week after week after week, particularly if they're coming onto a pay-per-view. I remember for about 4 months they did Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt every single night way back when. But by and large, recently, they've been swapping them around a lot to involve more of the hit rows, for example, people lower down the card who are struggling to really make an impact at the moment. Ken says, will you be going to WWE UK house shows? Not at the moment, no. I do have a full-time job after all. Camo says, can't wait for the Big E news. I know you posted this before I said it. I know reporters saying he could show up tonight, but I'm not going to speculate. Leon says, will the Uncle Howdy character be scrapped? Bray does not want to scrap it. The WWE aren't particularly convinced. Venom says, I'm excited for the possibility of a Raw watch along. I enjoy when there's more Tom comment. I know, mate. Tom content. Thank you, Venom. I know you're excited, and I appreciate that. Zane, yes, I am a PCO fan. His reinvention has been incredible. Spider-Boss says it would be nice to have GMs back on each brand. Michael says, hope this new Women's Strong title could open the forbidden door back up for Mercedes after she lost the IWGP title. She does want to do a bit more work in the US. I did report, I think about a month ago now, that Sasha Banks was looking to wrap up her time in Japan and return to the US. This was followed by Dave Meltzer reporting that she was looking to extend her contract after he initially reported that she was a free agent and didn't have a contract. This was then followed by Fightful Select reporting that Sasha Banks was about to become a free agent and would be available to go to the United States, and then followed by Dave Meltzer stating that her next match would be in the United States. So I feel pretty good about my reporting at times. Appreciate that, Daz. Look forward to seeing you, if you're awake. Mr. Stumble says Sami Zayn is a heel. He is not. Eric says, do you think Chelsea and Sonya will get a rematch? Possibly, but at the moment they're still building, or trying to build, towards Ronda and Shayna versus Liv and Raquel. Richard says, breaking. Triple H has a weird voice inside of his head during the WWE Draft 2023. Vince McMahon is confirming every single draft pick. There is not a single draft pick that has not already been examined and confirmed by Vince McMahon. FDR says, Tom, if you could be a manager to a wrestler, who would it be? AJ Styles every day. Doesn't need one, but I just like that rub. Ken, shame to hear you're not a fan of the New Day. I really like their work, but I get it. Richard says, AJ Styles, Bianca Belair and Edge versus the Judgment Day will be on WWE Smackdown tonight to see shocking turn of events. Is this, Richard, something that WWE has announced? If so, source your information, please. Raymond says, smash the like for Tom. He deserves our support. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that. We now have 60 likes, which is always a wonderful, wonderful number. Appreciate that counterfeit. It's lovely to hear. Dylan says, hi, Tom. This may sound stupid. What if the stipulation for Seth versus Omos is winner faces Roman Reigns at Clash of Champions? The difficulty there is that they might not be on the same brand as him and thus might be competing for the World Heavyweight Championship. Joey says, I'm surprised Warner Media is letting TK have another show after the bad ratings Rampage does every week. To be clear, Warner may be happy with the ratings that they're getting. After all, they're doing pretty good when you don't compare them to WWE. If you ignore that direct comparison and consider that they're a brand new, essentially they've only been going for a few years now, wrestling product, they're doing really well. No stumble, weird question. Dylan says there is talk Roman versus Omos for champions. Dylan, please show your source for that one. Sean says, if Bianca moved to SmackDown, does EO beat her for the title? I'd like that. I'd like that as a concept. James says, once Reigns retains his 1,000 day mark, I think we'll see him finally lose one belt. WWE rather than Universal is my assumption. Once Roman Reigns loses a championship, that will be the end of his championship reign with any belt. Just want to be clear on that one. No. Jay White will never need a manager, mate. Never. I'm not gonna just get in his way like that. Sean says, shame what happened to Sol Ruka. Speedy recovery for her. Yeah, absolutely. And Spider-Boss says, Bianca Belair has been champion for 390 days and fans don't complain. I think fans only complain when it's Reigns. I have seen fans complain at times. I just want to be clear on that one. Michael says, is there any reason why WWE can't strip Roman of maybe the Universal and use that on the other brand instead of creating a new title? No reason whatsoever. They just wanted a new championship. Richard, you're essentially reporting news and saying it's from dirt sheets. That don't fly here. Give me a source or give me nothing. Counterfeit, I'm not fit enough to try out for the WWE. Hogan says it would be hilarious if Roman won Money in the Bank and cashed in to become triple champion. I mean, the story's there. Hunter sort of buried him on Monday, will likely be upstaged on his 1000th day at Night of Champions. I wouldn't hate that, especially if Cody was the one who won it. I'd love that. Dylan says, do you think Cody will become the new World Heavyweight Champion? Pardon me, I do not. Dylan, thank you, says, give me sauce or give me death. FDR says, to be honest, I thought you were going to say Jay White, but AJ Styles is a good shout out. A lot of people thinking it was going to be Jay White. I can't get in his way like that, guys. I can't get in his way. I said AJ Styles. Let's talk AJ Styles. AJ Styles has been cleared to return to action. He's been out injured since well before WrestleMania, and I can confirm he has been cleared to return to action and may be wrestling pretty much as soon as they want him to. He is eligible for the draft. He is backstage at SmackDown, complete with many people from NXT. I've mentioned, for example, Roxanne. I know PWInsider essentially got there before I did, scooped me, I believe the phrase is, and all credit to them for reporting that. Cora Jade, Roxanne, people I would have been mentioning, Bron Breakker as well. AJ Styles and the club are backstage at SmackDown and may make an appearance live on the show after being drafted. Dylan says, phenomenal news. Spider-Boss says, AJ Styles news is simply too sweet. Royal Run says, I think there's more complaints about Roman's reign than Bianca's because Roman continues to rely on ringside interferences. Also, it's been like many years more, which I think needs mentioning. It's a bit more egregious. Carmelina says, do you think if the Usos lose, they'll get attacked by Solo? Nope, not at this point anyway. Oh, well, I'll be sure to wish you happy birthday when it actually is your birthday counterfeit. Zane says, former WWE champion spotted backstage at SmackDown for the first time in months, AJ Styles. Eve, how are you doing? Good to see you, says evening, which is a great sign-on for you. Absolutely fantastic. Good to see you. Welcome. Leon says, are there any plans on pushing LA Knight? There was a report a few months ago stating there's a big push for him after WrestleMania, but we haven't seen it yet. Nope, to my knowledge, there wasn't actually any plan for a big push for LA Knight after WrestleMania. When you say there was a report, do you have a source on that one, Leon? Because it may tell you why it hasn't happened. Hogan says, to be honest, I wouldn't mind them delaying AJ's return. Roman could wrestle Nakamura as a way to bridge to AJ's return. Dylan just shouting the words, too sweet. Backwards says, hey Tom, hope all is well. Are they going to get rid of the WWE title or Universal after Roman drops the titles because they introduced the new world title? I believe the Universal title, which has become synonymous with Roman Reigns, is likely to be dropped upon losing it. There will not be 2 world championships for much longer on the SmackDown brand. There will be 2 world championships, but 1 on each. Roman will not have 2 championships for very long. Sean, I'm in the internal list. AJ is eligible for a draft. He has been cleared, but they may be looking at putting a storyline together for him first. So he might not appear, but he is backstage. KJ says, hey Tom, planning on trying out for a WWE in Philly next year. Usually have one on the weekend of Mania in that city. I have to apply, see if I'll get it. But any advice? Yeah, absolutely. Your job is not necessarily to be the best wrestler. Your job is to get attention on yourself. Your job is to stand out. Be a good talker. Talk and smack talk in the ring. They want someone who can not just wrestle, but also wrestle in an entertaining manner. So talk in the ring. And I don't mean calling your match. Talk to the people outside the ring. Take the piss. Mock your opponent. And sell. The most important thing about in-ring, selling. If you can sell and make your opponent look great, and if you're entertaining, talking in the ring, they'll be interested. Callie, no, nothing on Cameron Grimes at this point. Kieran says, oh damn, forgot draft was today. I was just about to go to sleep. Michael says, PWInsider must have eyes in the sky everywhere. The report who spotted backstage in WWE, New Japan, Impact, AEW. That is exactly what they have, yes. Eve, you said I wish everyone on the indies realised that, the entertaining manner I'd imagine you said. Eve, you have a lot of experience with this one. What would be your advice if someone was trying out to Eve and wanted to essentially get advice on how to ensure that they are signed? What would you tell? If I can ask you that question and put you on the spot a little bit, if you want to know, comment, I will absolutely respect that. But what would you look for? Dylan says, given what we saw on Friday with Jay, could a potential turn on Roman happen at Night of Champions? They've been pushing that for Jay for the last 3 months. Matthew says, with a third world title, can Roman still be considered as the undisputed champion? Nope. Bailey says, Damage Control was poorly booked as a faction. Is that a result of the talent, the long-term booking, or simply that Triple H doesn't buy into it? The talent is there. The talent is unquestionably there. For me, it's very much the booking. Triple H does buy into it because he actually brought Dakota Kai back, brought Bailey back from injury, and of course, she was in creative hiatus for a while. I was reporting that months beforehand. And of course, with Io Sky, that was a call-up. He's into it. It's very much the booking. Venom says, do you think the Usos could go to Raw and Roman stays on SmackDown? Personally, I think they all stay together on SmackDown. Daniela, you're saying you just saw a WWE exclusive, as in the WWE themselves reported it? Just to be clear on that one. Eddie says, can we see during the draft any big return or debut with a big free agent? We absolutely could. Everything is on the table. Ken says, Danny Burch says he had a blast in WWE, but does wish he got a chance to be on the main roster. I think a lot of people in NXT do. It's one of those where they could have done more, etc. And they just feel if they'd been given an opportunity, they could have made it happen. Thank you, Daniela, for confirming that was a WWE report. Stated there'll be 16 picks made, 8 Raw and 8 SmackDown, and additional picks tomorrow. So some people won't even have it on TV. Interesting. We're currently on 2,399 subscribers. One more gets us to 2,400. If you can be that one, I'd, pardon me, very much appreciate it. Eric says, do you think Edge should win the new belt? Nope. Steve says, do you anticipate any blockbuster trades occurring during the draft, whether tonight or Monday? Yes. I'm looking at Gunter, I'm looking at Bianca Belair, I'm looking at Rhea Ripley. Eric says, is Meechin still part of the OC? No, that was a temporary thing. There was a connection between them and she may work with them at some point in future, but at this point in time, she's not classified as part of the OC. Counterfeit says, do you feel this draft will help both Raw and SmackDown? I think tonight, SmackDown will be winning this draft. And I think on Monday, Raw will be winning this draft. Spider-Boss says, could we see AJ Styles versus Roman anytime soon, or AJ Styles still doesn't want to work with Heyman? Still doesn't want to work with Heyman, to my knowledge. Razar says, Vince oversaw the entire draft. Did he also pick the lower card talent NXT call-ups? He didn't necessarily pick. He didn't make the draft choices, but he approved the ones that came through. So he had his opinion, certainly, and did share that. But Triple H made the script and wrote that out. Vince basically had to either tick or cross. Everyday... That's a name. Thank you very much for subscribing. I'm just going to go ahead and mute ourselves a troll. To be clear, not every day. That's not the troll. Everyday Chungle says, any Bray news? Yes, the Bray Wyatt news, particularly why he is not on the draft list along with Alexa Bliss, was right at the beginning of the show. You can rewind the show, and I highly recommend it. Rewind to the beginning, and literally within the first minute, I'll be explaining everything going on with Bray Wyatt. At that point, I implore you to stick around and check out some of the other news we've got, or just catch up. Rule says, might be a silly question, but are Bianca and Rhea not involved in the draft due to their belts? They are involved in the draft, just not necessarily tonight. Dylan says, given what we saw on Friday with Jay, could a potential turn on Roman happen? I believe I've already answered that one. There have been suggestions of exactly this for 3 months. Brad says, I thought AJ said he doesn't want to work with Heyman. He has said that. KJ says, talk smack, my specialty. Kind of wish I could see what the tryouts are like. I've seen small clips, but a little less than a year to prepare. Zane says, source F4W Online, Wrestling Observer, reported Minneapolis a finalist to host WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania could be coming to the state of Minnesota next year. Wade Keller will be very happy. Venom says, do you think Indy's injury will make her vacate the NXT title? I don't want to speculate at this point in time. I just don't want to speculate on that. It's a very bad situation, unfortunately. Dylan says, do you think Roman will lose the titles at WrestleMania 40? Nope. Counterfeit says, do you think Io and Dakota should move to SmackDown and Bayley to Raw? Nope. I believe that Io and Dakota should stay on Raw and Bayley should move to SmackDown. Michael says, Naomi was still on the .com roster page a few hours ago, last time I checked. Once she officially debuts on Impact, that will not be maintaining. Eve says, what I advise people on the indies is to stop doing what they think WWE want based on any previous trials or camps, and instead do whatever you can within obvious reason to get over. I see too many people trying to wrestle the WWE style, and the truth is if you build your brand and get over to become a talent wanted, they will want you regardless, and be more than wrestler. Gotcha. That's great advice. Absolutely great advice. And I do see that held out. And the people I speak to basically say that. Look, for example, at Roxy, now Roxanne Perez. She wasn't necessarily wrestling WWE style, but she became undeniable. So the WWE went out and got her. If you want to get the WWE's attention, get the world's attention. And the WWE will start watching. That's great advice. Thank you, Eve. I really do appreciate that. Hogan says, I do like how that WrestleMania location report came just a few days after I asked about rumoured locations. That is true. That's very fair. Backwards says, I think Cody's going to go to SmackDown. I don't necessarily see that myself. Alice says, on the list WWE posted, if eligible, picks Miriam is listed with AJ and the OC. Interesting. Ken says, what do you think is a better show, Raw or SmackDown or NXT on main event? At the moment, SmackDown. Plenty of room for that to change. Gargano, yeah, perfect example. Venom says, do you think we go back to brand-specific pay-per-views? Do you think this is a good thing, and how soon could it happen? I don't personally think we're going to go there, but I would like to see it. It would create more opportunities. Hogan says, can you export your live comments? I'd love to see how often comments include the terms when, Roman, and lose. Very fair. Very fair comment. Eve says, I talk from experiencing Alba Fire, Piper Niven, Tony Storm, Pac, and many, many more be wanted by WWE by doing what they wanted to do, not doing what WWE were doing in the camps. Very, very fair comment. I've spoken to many people in the indies who maybe did have a camp with the WWE and did not get a contract, did not get signed, and it really did hit them pretty hard. You've got to maintain that confidence in yourself and in what you're doing first and foremost, and don't let it knock you. If they say no, make them come for you next time. If you want to be a wrestler, go wherever they'll let you wrestle and get yourself over. That's all you really need. Just get yourself over. Spider-Boss says, I hope the women's tag team titles get better booking and TV time. Under Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, I expect they will. Liv Morgan is in position to get a pretty strong push in the days to come. Omega, welcome. How you doing, mate? Spider-Boss says, I'm still remembering when Vince used to take the best from SmackDown during the draft, only to be moved to Raw. And Sean says, I just checked, both Naomi and Roderick Strong are in the alumni section now. There we go. Eric says, wasn't Roxy the youngest Ring of Honor champion too? I do believe so. Eric says, I want Cody versus Roman again. Your day will come, I promise you. Two things left to discuss. Firstly, Roman Reigns and the Forever Champ. Yes, there is a report out there that there is currently an option on the table to go all the way to WrestleMania 40 for a rematch with Cody Rhodes. I've been reaching out trying to find out how likely this is, and from what I've been told, Cody is still the most likely person to win the championship. I don't know when. And even if I did, it'd be one of those, I can't sit here and say, this is going to happen on this exact day. Like, I know I gave you the Royal Rumble winner, but I try and make it a little less obvious there. I try and make it a little bit less obvious. I'm not great at it. I do apologise. But I try. But there is plenty I try not to spoil. I still believe that Roman Reigns will lose both championships to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and that the Universal Championship will then be retired. Funny, Kenny. I like that, mate. Daniela says, any updates on Blair Davenport, Mako Satomura and Stevie Turner? They've suddenly disappeared from TV for a while now. I have no information on them, unfortunately. There is plenty of time in spoiler warning when I'll reach out and I'll ask questions, and I'll get absolutely nothing. So, to be blunt, I have absolutely nothing, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Dylan says, Tom, if I was to become a wrestler, what do I do first? Train. You will train, and you will train, and you will train, and you will train. And you will generate contacts and network by training. And you will train, and you will train, and you will train. Because the very first thing, in my opinion, that you should have as a wrestler is the ability to protect yourself and your opponents. That is the most important thing in my eyes. Sean said a lot of Roman fans don't want him to drop the belts until he gets the match with The Rock. The match with The Rock is not coming. Spider-Boss says, I wouldn't mind if Drew McIntyre wins a new World Heavyweight title. He's certainly an option to do so. That's a question I want to ask you guys. Question I want to ask as we start heading to the latter stages here. There will be a new World Heavyweight Champion. There are plenty of rumours already about who's going to win it. But I want to ask your opinion. There are 107 people in this chat right now. Who do you believe is going to be the first WWE World Heavyweight Champion? of this new iteration. Who've you got? Hogan says, someone interferes at Mania 40, Roman retains, they introduce fourth belt that Roman also wins and repeat for 2025. Do it. Do it. Vijay says, Blair was hurt, last I heard. Thank you for bringing that in. Danielle says, no worries. Thank you so much, Tom. You're doing a brilliant job. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. Eve says, too many people outside WWE work like they're working WWE based on camps. That won't get you over everywhere, meaning your brand doesn't grow. And if your brand doesn't grow, someone else's will. Again, very good, very, very good point. I also feel, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think good social media game really plays a lot into it at the moment, because you shouldn't just be trying to get over with the people in the arena. You know, the people who are watching at the time. You shouldn't just be trying to get over with them. You can reach a whole lot of people through social media nowadays. Make sure you're using that too. Leon says, remember when they did the rematch between John Cena and The Rock and people hated on it? If they do the same with Cody and Roman, I'm confident the same will happen here. Brad wants Seth Rollins to be the one. Aled also thinks Seth Rollins will be the one. Backwards says they're going to split the tag team belts now or bring in new tag belts. I'm not sure at this point in time. I suspect they will split them. Eve, thank you very much, says both Stevie and Mako are still contracted to WWE. Mako is actually over here at the moment. That means the UK, just for anyone who isn't familiar with Eve. And to be clear, if you're not familiar with Eve, check it out. Absolutely check it out. I haven't seen as much of Eve as I would like, I've got to be honest. I know I came to the Brighton show way back when, but I've been checking out quite a bit of your YouTube, and it's just quality wrestling. It's just quality wrestling. Aled thinks Seth. Kevin thinks Seth Rollins. Backwards thinks Seth Rollins. Ricky thinks Seth Rollins. Mick thinks, you'll be surprised by this, Seth Rollins. Mark is going for Gunter. Bailey thinks new belt champ should be Seth because Vince is going to be Roman in a swerve. Sean says, will the World Heavyweight have the same lineage as the old one? Nope, this is a brand new championship. Venom says, I want it to be Styles, but they're making it so damn obvious it's going to be Seth. Kieran says, has to be Seth, need someone to make it feel like a main title and not a consolation prize. Seth Rollins, of course, has not lost to Roman Reigns and is one of very few in that position. FDR says, I think Drew, but I low-key want Edge to win it. Kenny says, first Lashley or Seth. Raymond said, a new champion, Seth Rollins. Dylan says, Cody as a consolation prize. Hogan says, thinking Omos beats Seth at Backlash rematch at Night of Champions, Seth wins. Omos getting all the way to the finals? That made me very nervous, but also be very obvious. Kenny says, Lashley or Drew if he stays, or Seth. Vijay says, Drew as a heel. I like that as a concept. You guys know I'm a fan of the Scottish psychopath more than I am the Scottish warrior, personally. I think I'm just into heels. That just works for me. Don't clip that. Don't take that out of context. Not like that. Okay? Leon says, I think Seth, but I could see them giving it to Drew McIntyre to convince him to stay. His contract does run for another year. I just want to remind everyone of that because people are getting way too excited about this. Spider-Boss thinks Cody Rhodes is going to be the champ. KJ says, I think Seth will win the new title. He deserves it and it's long overdue. I feel Drew could also get it. Joe says, Drew for me. Evie saying, great social media game is a big part of building that brand indeed. It's nice to see that we've got the same opinion on this. I'm probably going to DM you at some point, even just maybe have more of this conversation because I'm finding it very informative. If that's okay, if you're interested in that. Kenny says, we all know Drew deserves a world title reign. That says Ray or Seth. Razar says Seth Rollins. Vegeta is saying Grayson Waller makes social media work for him. This also, by the way, is one of the reasons that Rhea Ripley got pushed as hard as she did. Good social media game, connecting well with other people with good social media like Becky Lynch. Eric says Edge. Marcel says, I hope Seth, have you seen the videos of the live shows in Manchester crowd singing for 10 minutes? He says, I think I said to you before, it's gutting that the one show you came to is probably the worst show you've put on in the last 7 years. Yeah, I've got to fix that. Like, that's on me. I've got to fix that. Carlos says, Megan Morant reported the draft tonight will have 16 draftees, 8 SmackDown, 8 Raw. Thank you also, Daniela, for mentioning this one. Kieran says, you wear what you want. Well, I appreciate that you're not kink shaming, but once again, that's not what I mean. Venom says, last time Roman and AJ Styles faced off for the title, Roman barely survived AJ Styles. Give us someone Roman hasn't beaten in this reign. Tired of the same names facing him. Give me something fresh. Alyssa says, is Roman and Cody same brand? I don't believe they will be. No. Mark says, Pete Dunne, not Butch. Pete Dunne. Rivertown Tours. Now, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jordan plays. Says, hey Tom, I truly believe that Roman Reigns is going to win that title, the new one as well. Triple H is saying we need a champion to be proud of, a champion who won't hide. I would absolutely love that. That would be magnificent. Hogan says, were you the one that said that Omos Seth will make more sense after the Raw announcement? Or am I misremembering? Because this match does seem random otherwise. That's what I was told. I may have been wrong on that one. You guys know 100% that no one's infallible, and I'm certainly not one of them. But what I was told is after the Raw announcement, the Omos versus Seth match for Backlash would make more sense. So if we're building Seth towards World Championship, makes sense to me. Vijit says Rhea is great on social media. Rivertown Tour says it leads me to believe Roman will somehow win it and have 3 belts. I have no problem with it whatsoever, but based on what Triple H said, I think it's a fair possibility. So many people would be so angry, and that is every reason I need to back that as a concept. Absolutely every reason I need. He says, you only need to look at the demand for young talent with good social media. Nick Wayne, Billy Starks, and even next week, by the way. Ooh. And others, good in ring, but great growing brand. Yep. Branding is it right now. Branding is it. You know how to work TikTok? You'll get opportunities. It's why, for example, Logan Paul is getting all of the opportunities that he's getting. Hello, Ross. Thank you very much for catching up. Joe suggests Finn Balor. Our first suggestion of Finn Balor. Cheers, Eve. I'll do that. I won't do that immediately, but I'll do that. FDR says Roman 3 belts is mega heat magnet. And I'm saying Roman just wins that title and laughs at the fans, saying you thought you would get a full-time fighting champ. Keep dreaming. Imagine the heat. Spider Boss says I hope we never see women's championship swapping the title ever again. And Michael suggests that the new champion should be Charlotte. Ken says, hey Bailey, I want to know if you'll be my girl. As a UK fan, it's in our blood, it's in our DNA to sing that. Bailey, she still says no. So we'll keep asking, respectfully. Respectfully, we'll keep asking and see if she ever changes her mind. Alyssa says, is Cody Rhodes going to beat Brock Lesnar? Yes. And FDR says, maybe just straight up Solo wins it. Oh. See, now I think you're onto something. That Batista moment one more time. I'd absolutely love it. We are going to wrap up there. That has been spoiler warning. We will be live for a SmackDown watch part. Oh, not quite yet. Rivertown Tour saying, I feel like everyone missed what Triple H was saying, trashing Roman as he revealed the belt. I can't see the Saudi show ending any other way than Roman winning and fireworks going off with 3 belts. Thank you very much, Rivertown Tours. Thank you kindly for that very generous donation and the comment as well. We're going to wrap up there. Say a huge thank you to everyone who joined us. That donation, the upgraded membership earlier on as well. Every one of the 66 people here who clicked like. We did indeed get our 5 new subscribers, meaning we have reached 2,400 today. It means over the course of the last week, we have gained 40 new subscribers. We will be live for SmackDown, so be sure to tune in for that. Hope to see you all there, and I hope everyone has a good evening, or at least what is left of it, to enjoy. Huge thanks to all of you. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and we will see you all very soon.